We are back and starting over. I said what I said I wanted to ask you is, do the Mar-a-Lago women object to this, or are they empowered by it? Do they feel like they're being squeezed into a corset or having their feet binded, or do they are people into that this is beauty today? What's the
Yeah, I mean, I haven't I don't get the sense that they're complaining about it. I think that, um look, the to me, like, the sort of cautionary tale, the most cautionary tale is Kimberly Guilfoyle, because if you look at what she again, you can do the before and after on Kimberly Guilfoyle. She was a cute, person. She had a normal looking face, and then she turned herself into this cartoon, and then she lost Junior, and then they banished her to Athens, which isn't such a bad job. I mean, she knows where the bodies are buried, so they tried to give her a job that she would to give her a queenly position. But I think that that's an example of what happens when you do it and you get older and it doesn't work. You have to keep redoing it and redoing it. And again, as the plastic surgeon here just told me, anatomical normalcy, um, you no longer can see it. You get filler blindness. You keep putting more and more stuff in your face, and yeah, at some point. Well, they would regret it when it's botched. You see that's happening. You see some public women do come out and talk about their mistakes. These ones haven't. Um, but I think, do they think it's beautiful? I mean, obviously they do, or they wouldn't be doing it. They're looking at each other. They're not looking at us. They must think that us, me, normal looking people are hideous, or we're substandard. They don't, again, that's not something they want. They want to look TV ready. They want to look camera ready. They want to look like, the reality show cast, because again, that's what one of Donald's, the idiot savant brilliance is, that he's a reality show caster. And so these people around him are they're cast, like Tom Homans is like, the casting, he could have auditioned for, like, the tough guy, right, with the broken nose, the mobster, the sheriff, the county sheriff look, and then, all these women that just look like, again, caricatures, Betty Boops, blow up dolls, porno. There's a porno aesthetic going on here, especially when you go down to Mar-a-Lago and you see what the outfits that they're wearing in the party, the Great Gatsby party that he had, with the butts, the women with their the can line or whatever it was. So, no, I don't think they don't think it's ugly. They don't. And do they regret it? Again, I think I see people saying here that they really aren't empowered. For example, Bondi, somebody I saw said Bondi's not empowered, she's a
I think
puppet.
that's
Okay, I buy that she's not empowered, she's a puppet to some extent. But again, she's she's at the top of the legal heap here in the United States, and she has a lot of actual power. I mean, she might not have the power to do what I want her to do, or to do anything that he doesn't want her to do, but she has power. And so I put her in the category of somebody who's empowered. I mean, Christy Nome, okay, again, you could say Christy Nome's just a puppet, right? She's doing Stephen Miller's bidding. Okay, I guess that would be who's the mastermind behind that hideousness. But Christy Nome also was empowered enough to do a 143 million scam, for $143 million advertising company scam that ProPublica, I believe, just revealed. I think you know what I'm talking about. Some buddies of hers, who is political advertiser, no bid contract, $143 million. I mean, that's power. When you can pass out that kind of money to somebody, that's power. So, no, I don't think that they're regretting the self mutilation. Will they regret it someday in their lives? Maybe. I don't know. Will these people regret what they're doing? I don't know. I mean, again, there's something alien about them. I don't get where they're coming from. Neither do you, or we wouldn't be having these conversations.
I want to come back in a minute to this general area. There's two stupid types of conversations you can have in America. One's about race, one's about gender, and I'm about to open up a gender conversation with you. So, um,
Bring it on, Steve.
but before I do, I want to talk about the guys. There is no dude in America who looks like Brett Baer. Brett Baer has injected himself with all the stuff that the ladies have injected themselves with. Matt Gaetz is a male version of someone who's had a lot of Mar-a-Lago face. What is the male aesthetic that these guys are going for? And I think about this in the context of the earlier question that I asked you, which is how women relate to seeing these women. Now, on the case of Bear, I don't know how some factory working guy in Ohio, right? Someone who works on an assembly line, who goes home and turns on Fox News relates to a guy who does not look like any person that guy has ever met in his real life. Ever.
Well, I guess, I would just say that the factory worker who's watching Fox News is, again, they get a kind of a lack of anatomical normalcy on Fox News at all levels, at all times. So I don't think that, and then they sit around and watch reality TV. And again, reality TV is not real. So their sense of what's normal on TV is different from what would be normal at the bar, where they're drinking Budweiser or whatever at the bar stools, right? They're not. If somebody like a Brett Baer was sitting at the bar stool next to the factory having a beer,
Get
and he
his
looked
ass
like,
kicked
Brett
if he was
Baer,
in the
he'd get
wrong
his
bar.
ass kicked. Yes, or he'd be ridiculed. Um, that might not be the same thing for women in those communities. But nobody has the money to make their faces look like that. Although it is getting cheaper and cheaper to get a hold of
Yeah.
filler and Ozempic, so people are starting to morph. Regular Joes can morph themselves. Regular Jills can morph, but yeah, I think the men. I mean, to me, you asked what the aesthetic is. You said, "Is Matt Gaetz the aesthetic?" I think the ideal aesthetic in the Trump world is Hegseth. That like frat boy, weightlifted over, or what's his name, RFK with his testosterone and HGH, Mr. Natural, who's shoving himself full of testosterone and other things to keep his 75-year-old or 72-year-old physique, right? And so I think that's the aesthetic, the like, hyper masculine. Again, it's hyper masculine and hyper femininity. It's extremes, because again, they're motivated by this like gender binary that they're so obsessed with, and they're obsessed with it because they're afraid of their own urges. That's why they're obsessed with these guys are, their pedophilia obsession on the right. I think it's all projection. It all has to do with their own issues with gender or sexual issues that they're not resolving.